Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, here the UMG Prime $2,000 4v4 variant. We're hopping in here toward our quarterfinal matchup taking place between Enigma6 and Complexity. Both teams very familiar with one another and battling it out here, like I said, in our current quarterfinal best-of-3 matchup. Starting things off here on St. Marie-Newmont inside of Bottom Restaurant, and General firing through the bottom side of Restaurant, cleaning up some early kills, but Dashy from the flank takes down his former teammate in General, which is going to be a pretty interesting fight to be looking at throughout this entire series, because of course for those who are familiar with the early Enigma6 roster, and even, I mean, kind of like the most recent Enigma6 roster until, of course, we did see Diabolic and Center join in this team, and as well as aBezy. It was kind of a factor of, you know, Dashy saying he doesn't really want to be on this team anymore with Enigma6, with General anymore, which kind of led to a lot of roster drama, a lot of things on Twitter, so it's going to be a pretty interesting battle, kind of Dashy facing off against his old team and his former counterpart in General. Both players very, very talented for their respective lineups, now with totally different teams, as this one should be a very interesting one to watch. Both these teams actually faced off against each other when it came down to the U.S. National Circuit, and it was actually Enigma6 who ended up taking that series in a Game 5 scenario. So these teams, like I said, very familiar with each other. They've seen very close games, and I expect this hardpoint and this series in total to be nothing less than a barn burner. And speaking of that, barn's very close toward the side of Winery Lot when we discuss the side of St. Marie-Newmont. We do bring up the kind of big money hills. Of course, hill number 2 and hill number 3, Winery, along with parking lot. You can get a big chunk of time as long as you hold the spawns correctly, which seemed to be what the guys in Enigma6 had made that rotation for off the start. Felony and Code trying to get back inside of this hill. We see Felony from one side, Dashy from the other, goes with the machine pistol. And look at Dashy here. By himself, Grant doesn't get a whole lot done rather than just a kill, but this is the thing where you have to be wary of a guy like Dashy. Very highly skilled, of course, was kind of known toward the end of Infinite Warfare on Straight Rippin'. Very solid player. A lot of the times, I think at both Dallas and NOLA, I want to say he actually had the highest overall KD. To say the least, this guy can get the slang done. That's for certain. As looking on here, it is a current advantage for the boys on Enigma6, but parking lot can totally turn the tide of a map, whether it could be an increase for E6 or a comeback story for Complexity that will remain to be seen as early gunfights starting to take place. It looks like Diabolic watching through the backside. Player number 7 starting to cause a little bit of a nuisance, but it looks like both Dashy and StuDyy will fall. And now keep in mind, those rotations, those spawns coming in from that radio tower side, this is really the only entry point that Complexity is going to have unless they force a different player through a different vantage point. And it looks like it's going to be player number 5, Parasite, but he's just there on the next side of the spawns. There's no real time to challenge this, so I do really respect that play coming in from Parasite and Go, saying, hey, we don't really have a lane. And this is what really makes parking lots so difficult to try to re-enter inside of the hardpoint to retake, is because you really just have one lane to enter in through. That's through that kind of radio tower, kind of little kind of sketchy side, especially for B-Dom. B-Bomb and Search and Destroy, that little lane, you don't have a whole lot of a gap to really escape out of, so it can be very difficult to really kind of put kills in quick succession. But take a look here at aBezy. This entire kind of progression, the last 20 seconds of that last hardpoint was Complexity trying to set up for those next set of rotations, but those streaks that were earned from aBezy coming in clutch totally destroyed that setup for the time. However, it looks like Complexity have cut their losses, and they could be re-entering back inside of the hardpoint. So a little bit of an error toward the beginning of Lookout Post. They've started to kind of get their wits back underneath them. StuDyy finding a nice 2-piece there with the nade and locking down Lookout Post. And almost scotch-free action, but it looks like aBezy does rock out the glide bomb, but there's no one really there to challenge it. Looks like Felony and Parasite still kind of looking on here for the side of Cole. So, in my opinion, kind of a wasted streak. I would have probably waited, personally, I would say maybe toward a future parking lot, toward even a future Lookout Post, I mean, or even Winery. There's a lot of different opportunities where I feel like that streak could have been better utilized, but still, though, streak gets rocked from aBezy, and not a whole lot comes from it. So, Glide Bomb out of the books, and I don't believe any players right now have any streaks under their wing. So as we load in for the second side of rotations, now back inside a restaurant, but keep in mind, who has the spawn? This is kind of a contest fest for the most part. Seeing a lot of kills go down in quick succession. And speaking of such, E6 beginning to fill the kill feed as General currently heating up on a 3 spree at the moment. Not known for getting hill time, but when he has to, he absolutely will do his job. Finds another one onto StuDyy, can potentially find the 5th. Parasite will be there. It looks like aBezy's there for the re-challenge. And back and forth we go. Quick gunfights. It looks like the spawns have now flipped. Complexity will grab the remaining seconds, it seems. But the rotation, yet again, being won by the guys on E6. Blocking down those spawns for a winery. We'll see how Cole tries to retake, how they try to engage on this. And based on Cinder's positioning, he's trying to play spoiler. He's trying to catch up these guys from mid-map. He gets some shots tagged on the second, but it at least will delay that rush off the start. And if I'm probably in that position, I would prefer aBezy to kind of be kind of like where Diabolic is around this position, kind of up close and personal fights. You would probably prefer an AR to kind of have that long range of sight. So, in my opinion, a little bit of a kind of scattered setup for the side of E6. As it looks like 3 do come from the flank successfully, trying to get back on the hill from the side of Radio Tower, or not Radio Tower, excuse me, from Lookout Post is Enigma6 and co. They do hold a pretty decent advantage. Ascender nearly gets the turn on. Thankfully, teammate support was there, but yet again, 4 go down quick. 15 seconds left in Winery Lot, and Diabolic is going to grab each and every one of those. Big time going the way of Enigma6 as they put kills up in quick succession. Taking a look at that scorecard in your top right, at least for right now. General being the hot man in this series, 19 and 15 on a 3 spree right now. Doing a lot, getting very close to those streaks from time to time. Him and aBezy. Definitely Slayers to be looking out for, as long with Diabolic at times. As it looks like they perfectly retake this hard point. It seemed like early time a fantastic setup for Complexity, but it's easily broken from the boys on E6. Looking on, Diabolic now earns 1 streak, getting shots through the fence. There's another player just toward his backside. Only a few seconds off of that artillery barrage. That would have been utter catastrophe if anything would have came otherwise from it, but aBezy acting like a one-man wrecking crew through mid-map is able to drop 2 of his own. As it looks like, I believe, Diabolic wins a big gunfight inside of the hard point to grab the last seconds inside of parking. So a majority of the time in Winery, a majority of the time in parking lot as well, is going to spell disaster for a Complexity team who desperately needs to get back into this match. Granted, on the kind of first set of rotations when it came to the Lookout Post, they held it very well. We end up seeing kind of like a wasted streak coming from aBezy. But can they do it again? Is the thing. They need some early control, but no one's really here for the challenge. You're kind of looking at those red arrows. They're kind of sporadic. Thankfully, they're starting to get some kills in quick succession, so we could see them enter in back inside of the hill. But here comes the fighter pilot. This is the perfect hill to utilize it on. With their hard point of search and destroy, it's a wide open portion of the map. Despite Diabolic coming from the skies, it looks like it will be Complexity, having a little bit of a sigh of relief at the time. Finally, getting a few seconds inside of that hill, trying to get some confidence, get some momentum underneath them, as Parasite and Felony begin to kind of fill up that kill feed. Back inside of Bottom Restaurant we go, but not if aBezy has anything to say about it. Trying to put some pressure onto Parasite. As keep in mind that rotation out toward Restaurant, there's kind of a 2v1 fight that's going on right now. General and co, they have the spawn control. They have the advantage. I believe it's Dashy who gets dropped in the backside. And right now Enigma6 is looking so good in Restaurant. The early kills coming in. And really what this game has been up until this point, along with kind of holding the money hills, it's been the setup from E6, finding kills in quick succession. The timing for them kind of coming around corners and challenging things as a team has been absolutely stellar. And you kind of take a look at the scorecard. I mean, looking at it from like a layman's point of view, there's not a big difference. Like, I'm not looking at someone and saying, okay, that guy's going off, or this is the player who's kind of slowing things down. I mean, StuDyy, he's 17 and 24. That's not a bad scoreline by any means. Center on the opposite end, he's 18 and 24. So, like, and along with that, kind of other teammates are around the 23 to 25 kill margin. This by no means is a game that is this drastic of a score change with the kills, maybe like 5 or 6 kill difference that we see at the moment. So kind of surprising, but it just overall Enigma6 playing with overall better rotation knowledge. As like I said, those money hills can be absolutely dire overall right now. We see Cinder on a 5, aBezy on a 3, make it a 4. For the moment, I think that was, what, an 11 team streak coming in. As aBezy now has streaks, this game is going to be done. This game is over. Enigma6 win map 1 with flying colors. And really kind of filled with red right now as the blood starts to spill. aBezy coming from the skies with the fighter pilot drops 3 kills in a row, adding toward his already fantastic scoreline, 29 and 23. Complexity, consolation kills is all this will be. As last few start to come forward, a very drastic ending one coming from aBezy. with the glide bomb from the skies. It's 250 to 144. Not going to lie, pretty impressed by E6 when it came down to this match, and this is kind of a major factor. One reason why I'm really liking the Enigma6 side, of course, for those who aren't familiar, we actually got to watch E6 take the $300 minimum 4v4 variant that took place last night. One thing that I really liked about their gameplay yesterday was their consistency when it came down to multiple game modes, not just in Hardpoint, but also in Search and Destroy. Thankfully for complexity, they don't have to face off against Enigma6 on Arden Forest Search and Destroy. But this team in Hardpoint is just a nuisance. Whether it's General, whether it's aBezy or Diabolic, all of these guys are just absolutely dominant when it kind of comes down to it. And take a look here at our overall scoreboard. I mean, 2 numbers stand. Has anyone else kind of realized the outlier right now? I think we could definitely kind of take a look at that. We see the difference when it comes down to winery and parking. For the most part, Enigma6 holding majority of that time. 2 seconds, one for complexity. 2 seconds on parking lot. That is, at least in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinion as well, as the most, if not one of the most, important hard points to lock down. Granted, Enigma6 doesn't get a whole lot of time when it came down to lookout post, but they kind of cut their losses. They won a majority of the time in winery, a majority of the time in restaurant, and a 92 to 2, I mean a 90-second advantage on parking lot. No wonder this game went the way that it did. I mean, just the overall rotations from Enigma6 I thought were very good. We saw some moments right for complexity. Where it was actually toward the end of the first set of rotations, we saw Parasite make the early rotation when it came down to lookout post. So okay, we're going to cut our losses. We didn't win parking lot the way that we wanted to. Let's go ahead and try to get on a better footing. And then once Parasite makes the rotation, he makes his way kind of through front farmhouse, kind of that area, the gate area. And then the streaks come from aBezy. And it was just like the rich are getting richer. Those streaks through lookout post are so important, and they can completely turn the tide of a game. And while I realize the, incentive to want to make a rotation when there's only 20 seconds left, you kind of have to do it. It's just the kind of early game that you let Enigma6 kind of go off on. And whether it's the communication, the chemistry that these guys on Enigma6 have, I know they're a little bit kind of down after losing their U.S. National Circuit playoff match versus Gone Gaming just, I think, like, what, maybe an hour or two ago. They were kind of down on themselves. We got to watch Enigma6 play most recently against a team known as Enter Uprise. And Enter Uprise actually took down the side of Era Eternity in round number 2. So been able to watch quite a few matchups. Enigma6 pretty much dominated when it came down to the S&D and the CTF. So this team can be difficult to face off against when it comes into multiple game modes, but if we know anything about complexity, we take a look at basically all 4 of these players. It screams Search and Destroy. That's what they're known for in a lot of the LAN tournaments. Everyone kind of brings up how talented this team can be in S&D. Felo, Dashy, both known for Search and Destroy. Kind of Search and Destroy kind of stars for the most part. Of course, Felony a while ago and Dashy most recently. Everyone knows the runs that StuDyy can go on. He could be the absolute X factor when it comes down to a game. Whenever StuDyy is playing his best, he is a top 5 player, and a lot of the times it happens to come and Search and Destroy. And what else can be said from Parasite? I think there was a few moments throughout Advanced Warfare, a few podcasts that I was on, we would kind of deem Parasite as like, yep, yet again another season of the Pro League, and Parasite yet again is the best Search and Destroy player, the best Search and Destroy player of the year, without question. Of course, in previous titles. So if there's anything to be worrying about for Enigma6, of course, they do possess a guy in aBezy who is known for a Search and Destroy game. How you're facing off against a very talented team like Complexity. So when you're kind of looking at the first game on Hardpoint, Enigma6, you kind of dodged a bullet in some cases when it comes into S&D, because you're looking, potentially if you do lose the Hardpoint, you're down 0-1 versus a team who is known for this game mode. It's scary when it comes into best of 3s. These aren't typical best of 5 formats. Best of 3s, of course. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the continued coverage here for tonight's UMG Prime $2,000 4v4 variant. We currently find ourselves in map 2 of our current quarter-final matchup taking place between Enigma6 and Complexity. Enigma6 are feeling very confident after a map 1 win on St. Marie. They locked things down at 250 to 144. And take a look at this round 1. Gas grenade tossed through middle statue, because I believe that's going to be on the side of Complexity. No reason for the guys on E6 to kind of stun or limit their vision. But take a look here at aBezy. He's actually on the flank right now. Parasite doesn't get stunned inside of barrels, so I'm not sure if aBezy has any presence of anyone being there for the time. Plant goes forward here for Cole. aBezy does end up dropping Parasite. So keep in mind the streaks right now. aBezy 1v1 versus StuDyy. Bomb got down, or bomb got planted down early, and seeking out the hat trick is the lone man from E6. StuDyy playing the timeout well. This is a pretty risky play from StuDyy. He's not able to actually see who's on the bomb. Has to watch over toward his right. He hears him walking around. He hears his footsteps. aBezy finds the kill and is going to let him know. But unfortunately for aBezy, the hat trick is great, but around is even better. Will not get the latter part of those two. However, though, well, it is a success for kind of both teams. The round does go over toward the side of Cole, but got to be wary of that man aBezy. Drops a hat trick in round one just off the flank. I think Parasite even knew that someone was going to on the back end because the stun actually gets tossed through barrels. But looking on, Cole making the opposite side rush now is going to always put a outline in the back of E6's minds as Felony wins a big fight there inside a closet. Drops aBezy, but to no avail. Can't stay alive for much longer. Play number two, though. Parasite just happens to be sitting in a corner right now and drops two for his troubles. Dolphin dives back to have some teammate support. Pat StuDyy on the back, and now they're going to try to re-challenge this as a unit. 2v1. Bob gets planted here for General, so at least one positive from the captain himself. And he will get picked off here. Smart play coming in from Parasite. And overall, this is Parasite's round, right? I mean, he's currently 5-1. A hat trick here in round number two. And along with it, kind of sits in that corner inside of B. And, of course, we'll find the defuse as well. So smart play coming in from Haggy. As I was told, he was a little bit frustrated after a map 1 loss. And to no avail. Kind of losing in such dominant fashion to a team like E6 has got to be heartbreaking. For those who didn't hear the kind of early mention, as it actually is Parasite, we're actually rocking Expeditionary, so has two lethals to toss out, the nade along with the gas grenade for fire. But these two have faced off actually the U.S. National Circuit. Enigma6, we're placed in the top 4. Complexity fell just short into 5th place after being in 1st for the longest time. Definitely expected to be one of the more talented teams when it kind of comes down to things. But speaking of that, Parasite 2v2, rocking the glide bomb to try to gain some information. Tries to find one on 2 aBezy, but gets great timing at that. Felony drops from behind, and just like that, a defuse coming forward, and E6 will finally chalk up their first round. As we've got two players playing so strong after just a few rounds of play. aBezy from the side of Enigma6 and Parasite from the side of Complexity. I was a little bit curious as to what the call was from Parasite. I know he was trying to like limit player entering in there to Doc's warehouse, but wasn't really able to see exactly what the kind of envisionment was for that play. However, looking on, next offensive round underway. It's Enigma6 with the bomb in the hands of General, interesting enough. I believe it's a smoke tossed out here through cut, so vision is limited. Dashy the only player, unless a flank were to come into play. Some shots toward the back lines. You see the blue arrows kind of all scattered, 2 through mid. Those guys were blind off the start, so they're desperately trying to gain some vision. Dashy's still in the back. He's the vision. He's kind of like the overall. He's the guy kind of calling out exactly what's going forward. And I believe Dashy, with the shot that the bolt that he shoots, I believe he actually has a sniper rifle. We actually go to Dashy's point of view really quick. I believe he does have a sniper. Yeah, has the M19. Props for rocking the sniper rifle. Goes for the challenge. However, can't escape with his life. A big kill coming in from Diabolic. The first blood found. It's greeted with the second one onto Parasite. That limited vision coming through mid-statue really kind of harassed the side of Cole throughout this match. As now we find ourselves at 2 rounds to 2. E6 winning back-to-back ones. And also, it looks like General just does get the bomb planted. So if we could observe, I'd really like to take a look at the classes from E6, especially Diabolic in general. Maybe even aBezy too. This is going with everybody. Just to see exactly kind of what their overall score totals are looking like right now. See who might be close. It looks like General not too far away. aBezy, same situation in Diabolic, though. Not far away at all. And you see him kind of forcing early inside of A. Going for the initial rush. That's a very risky strategy for Diabolic to make, as they actually send pretty much all their players toward A, kind of playing off of those streaks potentially. And it's not going to come of it. They release the entire B-bomb site. So they're going to have to rely on a retake with a man down. And bomb still not being planted from Complexity. And Felo in a big power position. Thankfully has player number 3 StuDyy to try and re-challenge, so a bait and switch could come into play. But Felony loses a big one to center. Thankfully StuDy's there to pick things up. Drops 2, nearly drops the 3rd as Diabolic now all by himself. 1v2. Does he have streaks? Yes, he does. A Clyde bomb along with the fighter pilot. Maybe could ping. I would say that's probably like the only opportunity he probably wants to use these streaks for. Also has the artillery barrage as the 3rd, so very important 3rd streak. Teammates probably saying to go for the kills. You've at least got 2 out of the 3. You don't really want to play specifically off an artillery barrage, and unfortunately for him, not able to win it. So continuous, where Complexity is succeeding when it comes to plants on the A-bomb site. So right now, if you're in the back of Enigma6's mind for future defensive rounds, you're going to be saying, okay, let's kind of put all of our options toward this bomb site. We're having some issues with it. So one side kind of succeeding on A, one side succeeding on B. As Enigma6 last round threw that smoke through mid-cut, which totally limited the vision from Complexity. As it looks like Dashy probably swapping weapons. Didn't really need the sniper when it came down to the last round. If things play kind of similar, but aBezy actually gets the nade tossed with him. Beautiful play coming in from Dashy. The nade to kind of make him get a little bit nervous. As General does drop 1. I believe he has already utilized that smoke, so that might have gone through mid-cut. Didn't actually hear that one go through. Diabolic yet again finding another clutch kill. This guy just happens to find the most clutch kind of last bullet kills a player's dolphin dive running around the corner. But he gets him each and every time. I think Diabolic, at least from the games that I've been able to watch him play so far, might be back to his Black Ops 3 form. He has just been playing lights out for E6, and you see them playing together. StuDyy might be in a decent vantage point, not far away from each other. As it looks like StuDyy going for the more preferred bomb site. Usually you're going to see teams kind of force their way toward A. It's exactly what Stud's thinking. Thinks it's a little bit too quiet when it comes down to the A site. Going to re-challenge over at B. Has airborne on, so he should be a little bit loud. However, General, bomb is a little bit louder. Bomb gets planted. 1v1, can StuDyy win it is the question, using the bomb as a head glitch. Has the machine pistol, goes for the re-challenge, but Diabolic is there for the pickup. Yet again, he is there to find clutch kills. And props to Diabolic in this situation, because what kind of happens in that scenario is for a short time, it's really StuDyy who has the advantage. He takes down General, he knows exactly where Diabolic is, uses the bomb as a head glitch, but kind of forces the issue, gets a little bit too aggressive after already finding hit markers. Diabolic backs up, kind of utilizes the truck as a little bit of cover. And the PPSH versus the machine pistol. Take your pick. I'll take the machine pistol. No times out of 10. Caught you there. You guys thought I was going to say like there each and every time, but no, I'm going to choose PPSH. I'm going to choose Diabolic's PPSH. That's what I would like. But it looks like a rotation being made toward B, but not if a streak has anything to say about it. Diabolic coming from the skies, drops Dashy, and I love that play that actually comes in from Diabolic and the guys from Enigma6. They send him inside of A, and really all he's doing is once he realizes that's all clear, once he realizes that bomb site is not being utilized, because a lot of the times it has been for Cole, once he realizes that bomb's clear, hey, I got streaks to use. I'm going to use it on B. We know at least they're not on this side of the map, so they've got to be on the other side of the map. So props to E6 and Diabolic for making the rush that they do. Diabolic is currently triple positive, despite the game being tied. And Cole currently down in man count. StuDyy thankfully gets the bomb planted and will escape with his life. So all 3 players stacking up through mid-cut. The rush being made forward, and Diabolic's going to hop on the defuse. He's good. He's got cover. But where is Felony coming from one side? Grants 2, and I believe gets help on the 3rd. Big play coming in from Felony, as he's the major difference maker. I think StuDyy really only needs a bullet. Yeah, about a bullet and a half to take down Sender. That rush from Felony through mid, and that's really the unfortunate body stack that we see coming from E6, because it's a matter of they have 2 players kind of looking at the same point of view. There's no one watching their back. There's no one watching that flank through fire. So normally I would applaud a body stack like that in that situation, but it does not work out successfully. Not watching your flank can make you pay from time to time, as it looks like both teams experimenting on different bomb sites. We've obviously seen E6 succeed for the most part when it comes down to A. They go B last round. We've seen, or sorry, I think I said that backwards. We've seen Complexity have a lot of success at A. They go B last round. We see E6 having a lot of success at B. Now they're going A. Team switching it up, and I'm liking it. Diabolic is as well. He's having a lot of free reign when it comes down to A. He's dominated Waterside for the most part, but I believe the last Complexity player will stay alive throughout that engagement. As yet again, Felony making a big mark, drops 2. And you got to imagine, if Felony would have stayed alive in that last round, when he gets like 2 along with the assist, he finds a few more in this round. He probably has streaks at this point. Complexity probably has streaks underneath Felony. But at least they have that 5th round. And keeping in mind, if you're just joining us, Enigma6 currently do possess a 1-0 advantage in this series. As Dashy will drop the first, totally picking apart aBezy, and I've loved to watch this matchup so far throughout this game. They've constantly met up inside a closet. Granted, aBezy has the overall advantage when it comes down to kills, but Dashy has the last laugh when it comes down to round number 9. Parasite pinging out and calling in the fighter pilot. We'll see if he can get any work done. Takes down Sender, and it looks like all 3 remaining E6 players not rocking Mountain. It's a no-no. All their positions are currently known, despite the fact Diabolic does drop 1. And it looks like a snipe is all that is needed. A shot in the dark as Dashy picks up the first. Picks up the last, dropping his prior teammate and giving the guys on Complexity a chance in this series, as this one will be visiting a map number 3, CTF on Flak Tower, as that one, I really don't know how to call it. I'm really looking forward to seeing your guys' predictions, maybe even in the chat as well. I mean, this is kind of going the way that I would have expected it, at least when it comes down to that last game out of Search and Destroy. Of course, we kind of take a look quickly at our scorecard. Both Parasite and Felony finishing off 8 and 6, or excuse me, Felony finishing off 8 and 7. We kind of take a look here at our kind of overall round-ending scorecard, as far as kind of how the rounds did go, and pretty revealing detail. They're not just X's anymore. We've actually got a few little more details for you guys. Of course, the little bit of a key at the bottom. It looks like kind of off the break, we saw some early starts from Complexity, able to kind of obviously get the bomb destroyed. They go for a defuse in round 2, and then kind of toward the latter parts of the game, it really kind of comes down to slang. What this kind of tells me is once we see from round 4 to round 9, it's just really a matter of both teams kind of figuring each other out, and that's what I was kind of discussing throughout this game. We saw Complexity have a lot of early success when it came down to the A bomb site, having a lot of early control. We saw Enigma6 having a lot of early presence when it came down to B. Both teams really kind of succeeded at those bomb sites, but it was the other who were quickly to realize, okay, this is what they like to do. Both teams kind of figuring out the other, which I think is such an interesting kind of factor that kind of brings into this game. Of course, Complexity, we were kind of discussing coming into a Search and Destroy. This is their preferred game mode. This is where they feel confident. This is where they feel comfortable, and it's not really a surprise to see them win a game mode like that, of course, in just 9 rounds of play. Despite seeing some good moments from Enigma6, Diabolic has been playing lights out, not just in that last map, but throughout this entire tournament as well. Finishes off with a very solid scoreline in that last Search and Destroy. I was talking about him kind of utilizing streaks early. Played very well, and now I'm really looking forward to seeing how CTF, of course, will be lining out. For those who are just joining us, this is our final map of our current quarterfinal. Winner moves on to the semis. Loser, actually, I don't want to say goes home because they're already home, but they're sent home packing. They're sent out of the. They're out of the tournament. It's what it is. They're out of the tournament.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I said it would be a quick commercial break. I know it's esports of me to say it will be a quick commercial break, but it actually was this time. Just a fast little restart. We're back in the game. And Flak Tower will be our final resting place for this matchup. Of course, if you're just joining us, quarterfinals of the UMG Prime $2,000 4v4 variant taking place between Enigma6 and Complexity. Off the start, Complexity feeling pretty good. They obviously won Search and Destroy 6 rounds to 3 on London docks. Carrying in the momentum when it comes down to a game mode like this. StuDyy tries to go for the melee dolphin dive, does get stunned up, and could maybe make it around. Of course, you see him trying to get some teammate control, some teammate support, and I believe he should be good to get this one forward, but not if aBezy has anything to say about it. Gets around, and can he get the gunfight? But no, General is there. I believe a kill will come forward, but you want to talk about, as it looks like Dashy starting off 5-0. My goodness, Dashy, 5-0.
Just a lot of different moments, like literally about like 3 different moments throughout that game, or that kind of flagpole from StuDyy, where it was like if he can get around a corner, it would be big, and just overall it was very surprising. But the Dashy, literally, what is it? A minute in the game, he already has an artillery barrage. Slow down, young man. 3 kills taking place, and if you're Enigma6, this is a very worrying time. You've already gotten a flag scored on you. You're back in your base, and Dashy is not slowing down. 8-0 StuDyy. Should be good to fire this one in, potentially with the glide bomb supports. aBezy sitting on the flag is done for. Drops General. 10-0 for Dashy to start off this game. Flag still being decided in the base as Diabolic does take down Parasite. Actually grabs the flag. Fight's going through, but it looks like the flag will be there regardless. Felony is able to put it in, so big plays coming in from Cole, but it is coming off this man Dashy. 11-0 to start off this game. Earned an artillery barrage within like what, 55 to a minute. Unreal stuff. And continuing on this spree, 12-0, about to make it 13-0. Dashy lighting it up on Flak Tower. Complexity getting a huge momentum boost, literally from this man alone. Here comes the artillery barrage. This is going to spell disaster. And notice where he places it, in the very backside of the map, where it's not going to affect his teammates because they can still grab the flag and not have any issues with it. Finding the head of Diabolic, and welcome to 15-0. Dashy is on a new one. This is unreal stuff. Here comes the fighter pilot. Takes down one and nearly takes down Sender 2. A glide bomb in his back pocket. What can this man do? Thankfully shuts down Sender. 17-0. He realizes how valuable of a streak this is and will not stop. 18-0 for Dashy. 2 artillery barrages. What is happening? What's going on? Dashy, I don't know what to say, man. Unbelievable play. I've given Dashy the nickname of Flashy. Flashy Dashy coming forward. Unfortunately, drops Felony. It's really, he kills so many players that he just doesn't know where he's at anymore. He just sees player models. He doesn't see teammates or enemies at this point. But what a start, man. 18-0. I was talking, I think it was Johnny yesterday for us. He's going to shoot the bodies there. Has the right to do so. Johnny, I think, went on like a 15 spree the other day. I was like, it's going to take a very long time for someone to kind of break that streak down. But it only took about, what, a day, 24 hours for Dashy to kind of ruin things. Just unbelievable stuff. As the second artillery barrage currently in the base. As, keep in mind, Felony, player number 8 on the flank right now. Of course, watching all those bombs go through. Dashy, Parasite combining for a few. And his general, player number 3, actually happens to be in the back of the base for the opposite end. So definitely worthy. Could be making a play happen. Dashy has no issue letting everyone know. He's on a 6th spree again. What is going on? Dashy's 24-1. 24-1. He is single-handedly destroying Enigma6 by himself. This was a story that I was really looking forward to watching and saying, how does Dashy perform against his old team? Like, what really takes place? What happens whenever Dashy faces off against General again? And he's letting him know exactly why you're missing me. At the end of the first half, Dashy has a 12 KD. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. Over a 12 KD now. 25-2. Does end up falling from the flank, but thankfully the flags are still in the hands of both Parasite and Diabolic, so the minute of overtime will come forward. A little bit of a stalemate for the time, but take a look here. Player number 5, Dashy, trying to play spoiler in the back lines, does drop another player. Takes down Sender. Felony there to drop aBezy, so flag still in the hands of Parasite, holding it mightily. StuDyy tries to go on the flank, but scouts being brought up from either team. And right now, I mean, honestly, just shut down Dashy. Like, literally just get him out of there. Get him out of the map. There's 18 seconds remaining. StuDyy and co. Trying to do some work. Looking to where General and Diabolic could be at. StuDyy takes down another. 7 seconds left. Has to get toward Diabolic's position. Can he get here in time?
Probably not. So it looks like at the half, overtime will expire with a 3-0 advantage for Complexity. And really at this point, it was the Dashy show. Unbelievable play from this man. Went on an 18-kill spree, and at one point was 24-2 along with it. Unbelievable stuff. That was one of the most dominant runs I have seen in a very long time, and we still have another 5 minutes of CTF to play. And right now, if you're Enigma6, it's really just about picking up the pieces. Thankfully, Dashy did utilize all of his streaks, so there is that. Some positives, I guess it's fair to say, but we'll, of course, really be looking on with Enigma6 for a lot of this second half to see what they can try to pull off, as it looks like Parasite, though, has earned streaks on the opposite end, so it's not aBezy, or not aBezy, it's not Dashy this time around. But flag is grabbed early, streak comes forward, Cinder and Diabolic combining for a few, and Cinder with the flag in his back pocket has some teammate support. But here come the streaks from Parasite, able to drop one, drops two, nearly finds Cinder. As looks the flag has actually been grabbed from Dashy. Dashy has escaped with the flag now. Dashy is on the run, and he's made it out of the base. What a play from Dashy. He totally has bamboozled the side of Enigma6, and Parasite is now on an 8 spree for the side of Cole. And here comes the artillery barrage, and Parasite will drop him through the bombs. He will drop another. It will be a flag scoring, though, coming in from Enigma6. But still to no avail. Unbelievable play coming in from Parasite and co. And it looks like here comes the streak. The return still needs to come in forward. Diabolic ends up dropping Dashy. Now here, let's take a look at the flag carrier. Can we see General's point of view? Does get the return and also gets the flag. So just like that, back-to-back captures coming in from the side of Enigma6. Despite the early fantastic start from Dashy, in the kind of middle portion from Parasite, streaks alone. This game is close. Who will get the final laugh in this Dashy versus General fight? Dashy continuing to be a one-man wrecking crew, 31-7. StuDyy will be here for the pickup onto aBezy. However, the players are still spawning back here. The streaks. General ends up taking down StuDyy, and really in that position, I mean, I like streaks to be used for defense, but I feel like in that particular spot, it really wasn't necessary. I mean, it probably comes at a very kind of like high moment in that position. Like it's flat tower. Like a lot of kills are going down pretty quickly. Big stop protection that comes in from StuDyy there. That's a risky flag to jump for. Thankfully, does get the return in that situation, but still to no avail. Big plays coming in from either side. aBezy, General, of course, trying to make their mark at center right now. Take a look at his overall score line. 9-20. Definitely having some struggles when it comes down to flag tower, as just over 2 minutes left here on flag tower. Question being, will we see overtime? That's definitely possible. Enigma6, we're not doing the best when it comes into slaying. They are doing it when it comes down to the mental game, as Diabolic showing exactly why that's the case. Unfortunately, goes the one position where he didn't need to. Dashy right now, 33-11, continuing to kind of take a look at his scorecard on the top right of your screen. Having a phenomenal match. Despite only having a one flag advantage, like I said, but looking on here. Big fights going down through mid-map as both teams look to try to solidify map control. It will be your red team, currently Complexity, who does have the advantage when it comes down to that field. Player number 3 is going to be General. Last man standing, so for a short time, a quick 4 down. However, General and Cinder are here. They're in the base. They're quickly spawning up. And this is the issue when it comes to the flag tower, is trying to get a flag out of the enemy base is so tasking. It's such a kind of a difficulty, as aBezy, I believe, falls off the map. That's going to free up a little bit of space for Felony. Granted, nothing can really come of it, but that just goes to show exactly why it's so hard to grab a flag. I mean, Dashy literally goes on an 18-kill streak, and I don't want to say only 2, but really only 2 flags, like, get out of that. Like, he literally has 2 artillery barrages, and it's like, what, a 3-0 difference at the half? Just based off where the spawns kind of come on flag tower, it can be kind of spotty at times, but for the most part, you're body stacking in your base. It's about what? It's fair to say maybe 3 or 4 waves of enemies that you really kind of have to face off against before you can get a flag most of the time.
as it looks like all players, 7 players have been dropped on the map. Dashy, the farthest one, pushed up. Getting ever closer toward that 40 bomb as right now E6 feeling the pressure. 23 seconds left. They have to even this game out. And you see a full 4-man rush toward the side of the map. This is a big moment for them. Parasite's the only man here. They have to watch their flank, though, and StuDyy is able to take down at least 2. aBezy, the last man up, 4 up, and 4 down. A 4-man rush to try to grab the flag, a last-ditch effort, but it's not going to be home. And it looks like Dashy, in prime fashion, drops sender for the 40 bomb and will successfully get the last laugh versus his prior teammate in general in his prior squad in Enigma6. Flashy Dashy was just having a series, was having a map, to say the least. For those who missed it, hello Reddit, by the way. Along with that, 24-2 at one point, went on an 18-kill spree, started the second half at 26-4, finishes off this game 40-13. I'm going to say kind of slow down a little bit, but when you're at an all-star pace like that, you really can't say anyone slowed down. That was just insane, to say the least. His Complexity will successfully book their ticket into the semifinal. But really got to give props to the 2 Enigma6. You kind of see the overall scorecard for what kind of went down in these 2 rounds of CTF on Flat Tower. It was the guys in Enigma6 kind of in a very quick spree of a, kind of a moment where I think it was Parasite who actually put the artillery barrage down. The flag had already been grabbed. Then actually ends up making the return happen. So pretty much in 45 seconds, Enigma6 fire in 2 caps. That just goes to show the kind of mental fortitude of a team like E6. And this is kind of what their kind of branding has been known under. And I think the reason why the roster changes kind of come forward for this group and the reason why they kind of go the way that they did. I mean, I've kind of harped on Enigma6 through a lot of this year for the amount of roster changes that they've made. But General has even said they're kind of changing the identity of Enigma6 COD from being a group that was known, strictly kind of about teamwork, about chemistry, now kind of about slang. They're kind of getting the regular kind of COD mindset for what really kind of is hey, we drop players if we need to. It's not really about family. It's kind of about W's. It's about winning. It's about getting championships. And I think it's kind of start off the guys at Enigma6. It's kind of started off General to a pretty rough year. It's fair to say at all 3 different tournaments, including the NA Showdown or the Northern Arena Showdown. They've had different lineups in all 3 of those tournaments, whether it's been Decimate and Bevels, whether it's been God Erection Pander or Censor and Blastful. They've tried to add a number of different lineups to this team, and it just really hasn't seen a whole lot of success. As like I said, though, Complexity will, along with that, Dashy will get their victory here over the side of E6, but still have to give them some massive credit. And I'm really hoping that we actually get to watch Enigma6 in some future tournaments, even at some future LAN tournaments as well. Be looking out for that kind of like that trio when it kind of comes down to slaying. General, aBezy, and Diabolic. I mean, to me, I think Diabolic can really be a major difference maker for this squad. People kind of relate back to Black Ops 3 where he was playing on DT or on Renegades, whatever team you were kind of watching him at the time. I mean, at moments, he looked to be like a top 10 player. He was just a guy who was incredibly consistent when it came down to slang. Was kind of dropping consistent, 1.1 KDs at tournaments and whatnot. And I think based on this team, whenever they're all playing well, they are a force. I mean, I've been watching a lot of online tournaments. Granted, the competition totally different when it comes down to LAN, but I've been seeing Cinder go on some sprees. I mean, he's been earning some streaks in a lot of these matches as well versus some pretty solid online competition. So I think E6 definitely has an opportunity to really make a name for themselves. Granted, they do lose their kind of rematch to Complexity. They obviously faced off, like I said, in the U.S. National Circuit. E6 wins that one in the Game 5. Of course, this is a best-of-3 kind of best-of-3 series, so we only get to see 3 maps to get played out. Very curious how that kind of 4th hardpoint would have taken place if we did obviously have one, but that is kind of all questions at this point. So we're going to take a quick look at our bracket before we head to a commercial break to kind of see how things are currently lining out as Complexity, along with Juke, 2 teams have solidified their position here in the semifinals for tonight's prime $2,000 4v4 variant tournament. As we're waiting on final feature versus the side of GG's. Winner of that will face off against Cole at the bottom of the bracket. And at the top, we've got Rain going up against 3 Kings. Winner of that series will, of course, face off against Spacely & Co. on Juked. I believe it's actually Rain versus Lethal. Apologies for that, getting word from production. Not actually 3 Kings, it's actually Rain versus Lethal. So winner of that match will face off against Juke. Sorry, 3 Kings. Thought you were here, but you're not. Apologies for that, guys. But still, of course, guys, we got a lot of awesome...